at a tremendous speed, and shift towards digital has been significant, especially post-COVID. Data and technology have become powerful and are today the strong pillars in the world of digital advertising. Doing precision targeting and tapping the right audience at the right time has been high on agenda with our marketers. Today's Masterclass Knowledge Session is organized by AdGalley in collaboration with Quora to help marketers and advertisers to get a deeper understanding of Quora with emphasis on full funnel marketing and how full funnel marketing can help brands to engage with their audiences. Today's session will commence with a fireside chat where Mr. Gurmeet Singh, General Manager APAC Quora, will be conversing with Mr. Pallav Jain, co-CEO Performix India, and Mr. Harish Iyer, Executive Vice President Interactive Avenues. Before I leave, I would like to set some house rules. All questions should be put in the Q&A section. Quora Evangelist will respond to it. Also, we will be conducting a generic poll after the fireside chat. Welcome, Gurmeet. Welcome, Pallav. Over to you, Gurmeet and Pallav.
Thank you, Vijoya, for the warm introduction. So I think this webinar is happening at a very good time around Dussehra. It's quite auspicious, and it's good to be, connected to all of you. So best wishes to everyone who's kind of attending this. A warm welcome to all of you again. So what is full funnel marketing? Let's kind of demystify in a few seconds. What is the marketing funnel? So most of us would probably know that the marketing funnel is divided into, top of the funnel, mid funnel, and bottom of the funnel. What does this kind of denote? Top of the funnel is, awareness and related campaigns, and mid funnel is consideration. And the bottom of the funnel is, where we are focused on purchase. So we have senior people like legends from the industry who are there on the call today, and they would give all of us a very high level understanding of full funnel marketing from their experience. I can see Pallav is already smiling. And
a legend, I think. You've been too kind.
Oh, you are. And I'm not going to stop at this. So we'll have a chat with Pallav first, followed by Harish Iyer next, and then it'll be followed by a nuts and bolts workshop which Quora experts will kind of take you through. So first, a warm welcome to both Pallav and Harish. So first introduction of Pallav, because we're going to start the chat with him. Like Vijoya introduced, he's the co-CEO of Performix India. Performix is, one of the best known agencies today offering services in digital marketing, data technology, and analytics in the country. Also, some of you would know that Pallav co-founded Convonix in 2009 and, grew it from a 3-people company to a 500 media specialist company till, it became a part of the Publicis group and now is known as Performix India, which he's the co-CEO of. So let's get started, Pallav, with you. So given your experience, what, when you recommend full funnel marketing or when you recommend something to a client, how do you kind of, what are the aspects which you kind of consider? How do you recommend, a strategy to a client?
Right. Thanks for the warm introduction, Gurmeet. Thanks for calling me a legend.
Of course, you are.
You've been too kind. I'm not one, and I just want to be, a learner in this space. Every day that I come to office, given the developments that are there in the digital world right now, and of late as well, I feel like a fossil. So the constant struggle with me is to ensure that I'm not a fossil and I continue evolving to keep in step with all the changes that are happening. It's all the more difficult, but I rely on my colleagues and younger colleagues in the organization to do that and educate me, right? So let me take a step back when we're talking of full funnel marketing over here, right? I think I'll take a step back and explain it from the lens of a performance marketer or a performance marketing agency that we were essentially, and we are. but morphing into a much larger play as such, right? So when we started Convonics 10, 12 years back, the only way we could make a dent in the market then was to probably go to clients and tell them that, hey, look, we are specialists, we can actually drive sales for you using the internet. And nobody wanted to say no to the extra sales, right? So that's how we started across the board, be it through SEO, be it through paid media. Branding was prevalent then 12 years back also, but majorly driven through traditional channels, not so much on digital, right? And we've come a long way as an industry in general, right? Uh, so to say, therefore, when I look at it, when I look at performance marketing and when I look at full funnel marketing, the way we speak of it on digital today is nothing but an extension of performance marketing for brand marketers who actually evolved significantly, right? So let me give you a couple of examples, right? So when we started performance marketing of many years back, nearly a decade back,
Okay.
most of the advertisers who were interested in driving sales on digital would only scrape the bottom funnel, as we call it right now, right? They would essentially see where can they get the most efficient sales without putting in too many investments, and that's all that they wanted, right? And they were all happy that time with whatever they got. But with as years passed by, as the digital ecosystem increased significantly, so much so that the great part about the digital ecosystem of today is that it is able to map the consumer journey and all touch points of the consumer journey in some way or the other, on some channel or the other, in some creative format or the other, on some content format or the other, as such, so that any consumer's journey, right from awareness to research to consideration to eventual purchase, is all captured over there, right? So
Sure.
as this started happening, and it's easier for me to speak with hindsight right now, but the way it was evolving then, as this was happening, appetites of brands started increasing significantly overall, right? And they wanted to see how they could get more and more and more and more, etc. And therefore, a lot of performance marketing brands or brands who focused only on performance started looking at mid funnels and upper funnels, right? So the way I divide this and the way full funnel marketing should be looked at, it has to be looked at from the lens of the advertiser, right? What does the advertiser really want to achieve? If an advertiser is still at a stage where digital is not a very significant part of their uh, entire pie, and there are very few such brands right now, right? Uh, they are the only ones who are looking at the bottom funnels as such, right? But then a majority of our clients across the board who are either at the top of their game in the sectors that they are in, be it in banking, financial services, be it in travel, be it in OTT, in mobility, uh, any of those sectors that we see, gaming, for instance, right? uh, we currently work with most of the market leaders in these areas, and the market leaders have scraped the bottom funnel completely, and they've tried to get ahead into the mid funnel and the upper funnel aspects as well. The way we look at full funnel marketing from our perspective, therefore, right, is that full funnel marketing for us is nothing but it's performance marketing, because when we talk to clients are always going to look at it from the perspective of seeing how much uh, you know their expectation is that we look at it from a performance marketing perspective, that we are doing branding also from a performance marketing lens. We are applying the same level of precision, the same level of inciting, the same level of thought process that we put in performance marketing or bottom funnel marketing, as we call it today, into the mid funnel and the upper funnel as well, right? And that is what has helped us drive that differentiation for some of the clients, right? uh, Let me explain this through a few examples.
Yeah,
One
that'll be
example that I
great.
wanted to take, would that be of a large private sector banking player uh,
Okay.
who launched a digital savings account a couple of years back, right? And the bank is a traditional bank, right? They used to be a very, very traditional bank. A majority of the business still comes from a normal branch banking model as such, right? But like all banks, they also wanted to be one of the front runners and take care of uh, the new segment that was arising due to the advent of all the fintech players, right? So they launched this digital savings account, like many other banks were trying to do as well, and they were trying to beat them at their game and try to be at least the fastest to increase their base in that, right? When this started, a lot of their consumers did not know. The traditional approach was taken initially, right? That let's just look at what we can get from a bottom funnel perspective. Uh, the normal search, the normal Facebook, just get performance and let's see what's happening. And obviously we hit our roadblock in 1 month or 2 months, like we had predicted with the client earlier itself, right?
Mm.
uh, we essentially simply reached a plateau in terms of what we could drive, because the intent was completely missing, right? In terms of them getting the entire uh, scale that they could have actually realized that time. Yeah. And then that is when, post a lot of discussions, the brand started planning for a much larger campaign, which
Okay.
involved an entire full funnel approach over there, which would actually make the consumers aware of what the bank really is trying to talk about in terms of its new proposition, uh, what the bank is really trying to bring to the table in terms of offerings to the consumers, and how are they trying to make a differentiation for themselves over there, and for the consumers as well. How are they trying to solve the consumer's problem, right? And this we achieved by way of planning on all the larger branding platforms that were available that time. uh, the difference was that, unlike most of the branding campaigns that are usually done, when suddenly people start talking of brand campaigns, suddenly the performance metrics just go away. Nobody's really interested in terms of how much is the cost per acquisition, what is really happening in terms of driving a particular scale as such, right? Nobody's talking about any of those metrics at which we are held to, but we were, being a performance marketing agency, we were held to that time. And what happened eventually is that we started looking at, like I said earlier, all the branding campaigns through the lens of performance marketing. When we designed our upper funnel campaigns on YouTube or Facebook, we essentially targeted them to a very specific cohort of audiences who were most likely to convert eventually, right? That was the first set of audiences we went to. We exhausted that, established a very, very strong proof of concept, and then widened our entire reach over there, rather than going full blown, in terms of driving our entire, reach to a much larger audience, right? And we eventually then took them down the funnel. We were obviously collecting all the data, all the cookies over there, building our own first party data pool as such, right, across all these platforms, and then eventually reaching out to them again through a messaging that was much more relevant to them from the perspective of what their audience segments look like, or what audience segments or cohorts they belong to, right? So essentially, by way of doing a larger scale dynamic creative optimization campaign, by way of actually classifying these audiences into the use cases that they could use the product for, we were able, and by leveraging the various creative formats that were available on various platforms that we were using, we were able to weave around a campaign that eventually was expensive, to say that, in terms of cost per acquisitions, right? But
Okay.
within a month, we were able to increase the number of brand searches for the brand itself. We were able to increase the consideration scores for the brand, and the impact on acquisition started flowing in after that.
Sure.
Organic
Sure.
acquisition increased, bottom funnel acquisition cost reduced significantly, and the scale increased manifold. And eventually, when we looked at it as at a sum total, it became a much larger pie for the client. In fact, they beat the pioneers in this space in terms of reaching nearly 1 million accounts by a period of around 6 months at a
Wow.
lesser cost than them, right? So that's the kind of impact we saw through full funnel marketing. And if I were to talk about what kind of things differentiated us, or what kind of a differentiated approach we were able to drive over there, is that, one, we ensured that we were measuring the entire funnel, not just in terms of looking at the metrics that the platform was giving us, but we were trying to weave it all together, trying to reduce wasteful expenditure by actually going through a unified reach approach, and
Hmm.
using programmatic platforms that could actually drive a significant value for us over there, using the right creatives in the right context, and creating a consumer journey for the user that was much more relevant to them, right? And measuring this day in day out. And the last thing, and not to forget, this is the most important piece over here, that clients often lose patience in terms of the costs that branding campaigns usually are driving for them. But there is
Yep.
that initial window where we need to set expectations with the clients, and help them take a leap of faith as well, right? Today, this is pretty much the norm across most of the clients that we work with, uh, wherein they are not necessarily worried about what the impact of the brand campaign is going to be in the initial stages itself. They are happy to wait it out eventually and see what the impact it drives. It depends on the sales cycle that a brand has, really, right? Some brands have a sales
Yep.
cycle of nearly a month, and then you have to wait out that period. You have to tweak your campaigns accordingly.
Sure.
E-commerce brands and brands where the fulfillment is online is much quicker to judge and gauge these impacts, right? So it's easier to do that within a week or so. So
Sure.
that's how we looked at this,
This is
and
a
that's how it has evolved for
interest,
us.
interesting example which you shared, Pallav, that how even if you're focused on bottom of the funnel, which you're saying is is the eventual goal, but if you adopt a full funnel approach, the entire bottom of the funnel matrices also kind of become more meaningful, more better. And I
Absolutely.
think you've highlighted it through a beautiful example from the BFSI space that kind of completely makes sense. And I also think that as digital has evolved from X number of users to 10x users now, we roughly have about 500 million odd internet users in India now, and therefore it makes much more sense to have a full funnel approach. And industry experts like you are kind of guiding clients into trying it out, and they are tasting success, and therefore the adoption of full funnel approach in digital is kind of going up. Would it be fair to say that?
I see that's happening significantly, right? So like I said, brands who figured that digital is the way to go for them, especially in the last 6 months due to COVID, where this has accelerated significantly. I've seen that as well. When brands have realized that if they are able to bring the same the experience to eventually aid a purchase or eventually influence a purchase and get a purchase done online itself, be it banking, be it travel, be it any other aspect, of brands, even FMCG, by way of the increasing direct to commerce. Uh, we've seen a huge amount of traction coming in on that. Brands are much more open to look at the entire full funnel over here because there is hunger. There is
Sure.
it's an inherent eventuality that they are preparing themselves for, that this is the way to go, and therefore we are much more open to experiment and try out new things. The pace at which and the appetite in which they which they proceed on this, it depends on their P&Ls and where they are in their entire journey of digital transformation of their organizations. But definitely a sea change in the way things used to happen earlier, in the way things happen right now.
Sure, Pallav. Thanks for that, high level overview. Uh, Before we, move on to Harish, is there anything which you want to add and convey to the, audience out on the call? Any particular tips which they should keep in mind before kind of starting a campaign?
Right. I think we spoke of the larger full funnel marketing approach from a media perspective, right? What many times happens is that brands and agencies are just too focused on the media aspect of things, and they forget many times the entire user experience and the consumer journeys and various consumer journeys that are going to happen. And are they going to be relevant or not? Are they friction free or not? Are they seamless or not? I think if enough and more focus is laid on these areas and these particular aspects, full funnel marketing campaigns will be able to drive much better results. Any marketing campaign will be able to drive much better results than they are driving right now. For instance, there are organizations currently who may not have essentially spent enough time or spent enough thought in terms of building the right kind of experience, right kind of online application process, right kind of online purchase journey as such, right? And when they are not able to get that, and then they rush to the market with an incomplete product or an inefficient product, uh, it's only going to lead to a lot of media wastage, investment wastage, uh, and more than that, a dilution of their own brand proposition and brand name, right? So what people should
Yep.
not forget is the surround sound and the environment that exists around it, the basic fundamental. The full funnel marketing will any which ways work on the product as such, right? That's something that has to be kept in mind always.
Yeah. Thanks, Pallav. I think interesting insights, and big shout out to you for kind of finding time to join the call today.
Thank you. My
Thank
pleasure.
you so much for that.
Thanks, Gurmeet, and thanks, Adgali, for the for the opportunity. It was great interacting with you, Gurpreet. Thank you. And all the best to Harish and the other speakers coming on board now.
Thanks, Pallav.
Thanks, Pallav. So let's now move to Harish. Harish Iyer is again, a very well-known name in the entire digital industry. Harish is the EVP, as we all know, of Interactive Avenues. He drives planning, intelligence, media investments, and innovation. He works very closely with the planning, trading, and programmatic teams at Interactive Avenues. He's been with them for, guess what, 14 years. So he's kind of seen the birth, evolution, and the growth of digital and online advertising in India. So we're lucky to have him on this call today along with us. Welcome, Harish. So I know you are like an ocean of knowledge and we have limited time. So would you want to pick a, Pallav has shared with us on the banking category, an example on the banking category. Would you want to pick a category of your choice and maybe, share some examples and your point of view on full funnel marketing?
Yeah, thanks, Gurpreet, for the wonderful introduction. And hello, everyone. The thing that when it comes to full funnel marketing, right, what typically everyone thinks is it's all about driving bottom funnel action and seeing how is it that we can acquire more consumers or customers for the particular brand. But what it really means is full funnel marketing is looking at all aspects of the marketing. So it means content, it means media, and also the kind of experience that you create in the digital ecosystem. Because that's when you kind of move the consumer closer to your brands, and that's when conversion becomes an easier aspect. So it's about taking care of each of these aspects so that you're able to acquire the consumers at a much better, efficient, cost-efficient manner. And all of these aspects also play an important role to create the kind of customers that you want to have all across. If you only chase the bottom funnel action, you are targeting a limited pool. That's why the brand need to speak to the consumers, need to speak the language the consumer is. We look at it, full funnel marketing as at Interactive Avenues.
Sure,
as
Harish.
far as I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. As far as you were saying something, yeah.
As far as we've been trying to work in this manner across all categories and brands that we handle, that is creating a 360-degree surround experience so that it becomes easier for the brands to kind of onboard or acquire consumers in the long journey. And what's more important is to look at the consumer journey. At what stage have you lost the consumer, and how do you need to kind of get back to him in terms of communication? How do you need to kind of reach out to him? And it also matters at what time and platform are you kind of having that kind of conversation. So I can talk about multiple categories, but recently we started off for one of an apparel brand in our city, and what we realized is while they were chasing for the bottom funnel action, saying that okay, we need to drive performance and drive as many sales as possible, what we realized is a lot of things need to be fixed before we move ahead. So the first thing that came into mind was, do we have the whole experience piece set up properly? Because buying an apparel online is something you don't have a touch and feel aspect, but at least it needs to come across to the consumer in such a way that, yeah, this is the product that I need to buy. So the first task that we started off with was fixing the basic requirements on the website itself and the experience that the website needs to give.
I think we lost Harish again. Yeah. Harish, we lost you for a bit. You want to switch off your video? It will save you some bandwidth.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, Harish, you're audible. Yeah.
Great. So once we were kind of able to fix the fix the basics on the website, then we looked at the communication part of it. What the communication needs to be. That's because this brand doesn't discount itself in any in any platform, in any e-commerce platform, or even for that matter on their own website. So what the communication needs to be. So what we realized is when you're looking for audience, you're looking for multiple audience sets. I mean, that's between different age groups and different mindsets. Certain mindset are, you can call them as deal getters. They don't care about brand. They don't have brand loyalty or affinity. At the same time, they're very price sensitive and they're only discount hunters. The others are people who genuinely like a brand, would want to kind of own that brand. And the third guys are the guys who are already the consumers of that particular brand. So that's how we kind of classified the whole thing. And what we realized is while the brand existing brand consumers were shopping on the website, irrespective of whatever challenges that they were coming across, we were able to acquire and onboard newer consumers, and at the same time we were able to build a larger funnel. So we were collecting data to understand what's the consumer looking for, and basis that we kind of doing a lot of market basket analysis and building products and communication to reach out to them to increase the product uptake of different products which will not.
Sure, Harish. So, we have, people from various sets of organizations on the call today and agencies on the call today. So if let's say a person is, let's say a startup in the education space and, is beginning his business. So what would your, suggestion be in terms of, what kind of, should he go in for a full funnel marketing approach, or, like typically education focuses only on leads? Should he go in only for leads? What would be your recommendation?
See, I mean, you need to look.
Lost you again, Harish.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, Harish, you're back now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying that it depends upon the size audience pool that's available digitally active, and
Okay.
I mean, to increase the pool, you need to kind of do a lot of top funnel action, upper funnel action, so that you're able to increase the base, and at the same time you're able to kind.
I think we lost Harish again. But what he was trying to say is, we need to increase the pool size, and therefore top of the funnel is important. And by that logic, I think full funnel marketing probably becomes imperative, even if you're a startup.
That's correct.
So, yeah. Harish, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. So I think I'm
Okay.
sorry for this bad network. I think there is an issue with the network.
No issues, Harish. Many of us kind of face it on some days. Yeah.
So that's what. So you need to look at both upper funnel activations. At the same time, you need to look at lower funnel. How do you kind of convert them at an ongoing stage? Yeah. It needs to be an ongoing process wherein your brand is visible. At the same time, you're also doing an always on kind of an performance led activation.
Sure, Harish. So, any final message, to the audience before we start the workshop with the experts?
My only thing is, when you talk about full funnel marketing, a lot of people get mistaken it and say that it's only about acquiring customers. It's if you are chasing a smaller pool, then you're restricted to the small base.
Got it. I think what Harish is trying to convey is that there are multiple objectives to be fulfilled, in a marketing cycle, and acquiring customers is not should not be the only objective. It should also be maybe creating awareness, consideration, and then obviously, like even Pallav said, it would kind of automatically make sense for the full funnel approach. Harish, are you back? Otherwise, we can
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm there. So that's from my side.
Sure, Harish. So I think you summarized it quite well, and thanks again on behalf of all of us at AdGully and Quora and the audience, for taking out time to join us. And back to you, Bijoya. You're on mute, Bijoya. Yeah.
Thank you, Gurmeet, for this interesting conversation. I would also like to thank Pallav and Harish for taking out time and sharing their views on full funnel marketing. Actually, you've demystified it quite a bit. When we started doing this conversation, I was myself kind of wondering where are we heading. Thanks to you, Gurmeet and Pallav and Harish, how you so nicely explained with examples of your set of clients on the demystification part. I would now like to request Harpreet Multani and Aviroop Das, a Quora evangelist, to talk us through the entire process at Quora. So both of them will share some insights and the studies that Quora has done till date on driving performance marketing by targeting at large, high intent audiences. However, before we get into it, let's do a quick poll. Madhura, over to you.
Thank you, Vijaya. So I'll just start sharing my screen now and first take the audience through Quora's solutions for the next 20 minutes or so. And then post that, Harpreet will cover Quora's targeting options as well to elucidate to the audience how our full funnel marketing solutions play into everything that has currently been discussed on this session. So without further ado, just starting to share my screen. Right. So just to begin with, what we want to discuss in the next 20 minutes to quickly cover is the importance of full funnel solutions. We won't delve too much into this because we've already discussed for the last 30 minutes in terms of just how important full funnel marketing is, but we'll do a quick summary. And then we'll get into, firstly, why Quora? What is the relevance of Quora and Quora's business solutions and its audience for marketers? What does that audience on Quora actually look like? And then finally, what is the full funnel approach that you can actually take with Quora, right? So number one, the importance of full funnel solutions. Just to quickly summarize that very, very interesting discussion between Gurmeet and Pallav and Harish, the importance of full funnel solutions is all about covering the entire funnel so that you're not just limited to a small pool like Harish summarized. You start with a broader base. You start with awareness as the goal, where you're reaching your audience when they're reading about your category, wanting to know more. You move on from there to consideration, where the audience is wanting to know more about you and you engage with that audience at that particular stage. And then you finally move to the conversion part of the funnel, where you're actually influencing the decision-making journey of your potential customers. So how does Quora address all of it? And what is the importance of Quora? Why should you even consider Quora from a business solution standpoint? Why do firstly people come to Quora, right? People come to Quora to share knowledge and learn about the world. Quora connects knowledge seekers with subject matter experts across a variety of topics and categories of conversations. So if you look at why typically people come to Quora, they come into Quora to evaluate products, to conduct research, to learn about the world, to share knowledge, to be productive, to share their stories, to be surprised, or to find community. But what we found especially relevant for businesses is that users come very often to evaluate products and conduct research. And therefore, where businesses and brand marketers need to leverage Quora is to share their knowledge, share their leadership in their categories on the platform, which brings us to what the audience nature is on Quora. Right? Quora has a very high intent audience. We are not a pure social platform, nor are we a pure search platform. Interestingly, Quora is an amalgamation of both of these natures of platforms. So no one's coming to Quora when they're passively browsing content, but at the same time, they aren't coming to Quora when they've already made a decision. Instead, users are coming to Quora when they're actively learning. They want to inform their decision-making journey with credible and reliable opinions. And so therefore, as a business, when you're present on Quora, you're influencing that decision-making journey of your potential customers. If you look at the audience quickly on Quora, especially in India, we now have over 100 million monthly unique visitors. So if you look at the age bifurcation of this audience, we have a fair mix of a millennial audience as well as a mature audience on the platform. So if you look at the 18 to 34 age group, that's a good 70+% of our audience. But if you look at the 25 to 54 age group as well, that's a good 60+% of our audience as well. Then if you look at the gender distribution on Quora, here we turn out to be a fair bit of a pleasant anomaly, especially in comparison to most digital and social platforms out there, which are typically much more heavily male skewed. However, on Quora, as you can see, we are almost equally divided between the two genders. And we like to believe that this is because Quora was constituted with a policy called BNBR, which stands for be nice, be respectful. So there are 3 levels of moderation on Quora that enforce this policy. There is automated moderation in the form of machine learning algorithms. There is manual moderation in the form of an extended moderation community. And then finally, there's user-led moderation, where users are given the power to downvote content, to report content. And if there is a certain quantum of such reports, then that content becomes automatically collapsed. So because of these kind of policies, we've created over a period of time a much safer environment for both genders to come and both contribute as well as consume content. If you look at the usage stats on Quora, this is fairly similar to the rest of the digital landscape at present. So desktop is at lower 18%, whereas mobile is at a heavier 82%. And if you look at the time spent on Quora, 40+ minutes spent daily on the app on an average. The app users typically comprise core users of Quora, so therefore much heavier usage there. But even if you look at the overall time spent daily on mobile, that's a good 15+ minutes. And again, that boils down to the high intent nature of our audience, where people are coming with a specific purpose in mind to conduct research, to evaluate products, and will typically therefore spend a certain amount of time before they find the right credible opinions on the platform and then move ahead with their decision. Lastly, if you look at the unduplicated India reach, especially across a bulk of platforms which are typically either compared to Quora or are very sizable in the Indian landscape, we actually have a fairly high unique reach, especially in comparison to these platforms. So how this data reads is 74% of Quora's audience cannot be found on LinkedIn. 81% of Quora's audience is not present on Twitter. 54% of Quora's audience is not present on the time-sensitive properties. And even 23% of Quora's audience is not present on Facebook and its sort of properties. Secondly, if you look at the kind of consumption across a variety of categories, right? So as you can see, Quora appeals to a lot of categories. It's all about connecting knowledge seekers with subject matter experts across each of these categories. So while you see the usual suspects in there in terms of higher education, learning, dating, relationships, but even topics like entertainment, cricket, everyday life, auto, technology, and shopping are massive categories of content consumption on Quora. So for example, if you look at finance as a category, it's a very popular topic area on Quora, right? Over 31 million answer views in Q1 of 2020 alone. over 20.2 million followers of finance related topics and over 365,000 questions. Now, one thing that may be appearing or popping into your minds at this moment is what exactly is the topic on Quora? Most people are typically familiar with questions and answers on the platform, but maybe unaware of what a topic stands for. A topic on Quora is essentially a collection of questions and answers which has been categorized with that topic. It's been tagged with that topic. So whenever a question is contributed onto Quora, it automatically gets tagged with a topic that is selected by the system, but the user also has the ability to manually select the topic from a range of available topics or create a new topic if they don't find any. And each topic, therefore, exists as its own standalone page on Quora. So what you're seeing on your screen on the left-hand side here, for example, is the finance topic on Quora. As you can see within that topic page, you can follow a specific topic, you can bookmark it, you can read all the questions and answers, you can answer specific questions, you can look at most viewed writers within the topic, or you can even browse related topics. So think of topics as a heightened version of hashtags on Quora, where you can do so much more than what you typically can with hashtags on other social channels. So for example, in finance, these are the kind of stats that we see. If you break that down into categories like banking, for example, again, very, very popular as a category of content consumption and creation. So banking topics have over 31 million answer views in India in the Q1 of 2020 alone, over 2.3 million followers, over 356,000 questions. Similarly, insurance, massive category of content consumption as well as contribution, over 5 million answer views, 98,000 followers, 100,000 plus questions. Education, again, a massive category on Quora, over 38 million answer views, over 16 million followers, over 1 million questions. So massive, massive category of content consumption and creation. Again, software, SaaS, massive area of content consumption and creation. And finally, B2B, which has always been a very popular area of content consumption on Quora, both globally as well as in India. We see over 262,000 India answer views, over 300,000 followers, and over 13,000 questions. So now we come to how do you leverage all of this audience as well as audience intent that is present on the platform? And there are some very simple ways to leverage this, right, on Quora. So there are 3 steps in a certain way to speak. What you can see here on the top left-hand side, that's the easiest way to get started on Quora with text and image ads. You don't even need a profile on Quora to get started with it, where the text and image ads will essentially be used to drive traffic and drive consideration and drive performance for your business. Then there is the next step of the evolution, which is promoted answers, where you can be creating content on Quora and promoting it to a certain user base to have greater distribution of that content with the target audience that you have in mind. And finally, the most evolved approach is where you create your own business profile on Quora. You have your own business presence. You create content from that business presence, and then you can promote those answers as well as run text and image ads in parallel. So we'll delve into each of these solutions in a little bit of detail in the subsequent slides. So if you look at text ads, very simple to understand, closest to the PPC format, the search format, there's a headline copy and a body copy. The headline copy affords you 65 characters. The body copy affords you 105 characters, and you have 16 call to action options to choose from. So one thing that we do recommend as far as text and image ads are concerned is that you can customize the headline copy and the body copy in the form of a question and answer. So what you're seeing here, for example, is smart luggage for the modern traveler as the headline. You can actually turn that into what are the smart luggage options for the modern traveler and have the body copy answer that question. The reason why we recommend this typically is because Quora itself is a question and answer platform. So when you customize your ads into a question and answer format as well, that typically we've seen improves engagement as well as down the funnel performance. Both text and image ads to highlight is essentially to drive traffic. Click anywhere on the text or image ads, and it will drive traffic directly onto the destination page that has been configured against your campaign. If you look at image ads, they're very similar to the text ads. They add a hero image to the creative as well as a brand logo. The hero image can be in the 16:9 resolution, with the minimum size being 600 by 335 pixels and the logo being 500 by 500 pixels in size. So one key aspect about our image ads is that unlike many other social platforms, we do not have the 20% text rule as far as what can be added to the image itself is concerned. So because Quora is a textual platform by nature, we've actually seen that adding a certain amount of text to the image can help with abetting the performance of your campaign. So if you're highlighting, say, message details or offer details within the image itself via text, Of course, we don't recommend that you cram that image up with text, but a certain amount or certain volume of text within the image can actually help with your campaign performance again. Then we come to what is the most unique feature of Quora, especially from an advertising standpoint, which is promoted answers. So while image and text ads will drive traffic to your destination page, what answers do is that they give you the ability to boost the distribution of your content. So when you are creating content on the platform, or when you want to promote content on the platform, say you can even promote answers that already exist on the platform that are speaking well of your brand. Or you can launch your own business profile, which is the newest feature that Quora has actually launched. It's still in beta and it will have a wider public release sometime this particular quarter itself. But if you have your own business profile on Quora, then you can write your own answers, and then the answer distribution can actually be promoted via the promoted answer feature. So why is that even important? Why do you need to promote your answers on Quora? The answer lies in the Quora Flywheel, right? Why do businesses or users come to Quora? They're essentially coming to Quora because they can join the conversation by sharing their knowledge. They can then engage with high intent audiences, and they can eventually be established as the thought leader, which enhances their trust and their reputation. That is what furthers consideration, right? That is what brings users from awareness to consideration in the funnel. However, this can be a long drawn process as far as Quora or any other platform is concerned, right? Typically, many other platforms are focused on acquiring followers as a means to achieve this. But Quora instead gets right to the point in terms of focusing or emphasizing on your content. So essentially, when you promote answers, what you're doing is you're accelerating that entire flywheel by ensuring that the visibility of your content has been boosted, and users who are your target audience are able to see your content at the right time during their research, and therefore further their consideration for your brand. So the two approaches that we currently have as far as promoted answers are concerned is the older approach, which many of you may be aware of, where brands had user profiles or individual users would have their own profiles and they would answer questions, and then those answers could be promoted. So what you're seeing on the left-hand side, for example, is an example of that, where the promoted answer is from a user profile or what we call a surrogate profile. And then that is promoted to the appropriate target audience on Quora. But the newer approach that we've just launched, which I was referring to, is the business profile approach, where you can have your own business presence. And from that business profile, you can write answers, which can be more thought leadership in nature or knowledge sharing in nature. And those answers can then be promoted to a relevant audience to further your consideration. So as you can see here, there's this little blue logo against that particular profile, which is actually a briefcase sign, which is what comes with every business profile and distinguishes a business profile from a user profile. So when you have a business profile, you can essentially promote those answers from your business profile itself. Promoted answers also allow you to incorporate rich media formats into the answers itself. So you can essentially have videos or GIFs within the answer. You can embed a native YouTube video or any other player videos as well. And you can even have GIFs. And while GIFs can autoplay within answers, videos will play on click. So you can add a more explanatory answer, but if you already have videos that are answering those questions, you can also incorporate them within your answers and then promote them. Then we come to another new evolution of Quora's ads, which is the lead gen form. So you can marry the lead gen forms with the image and text ads, where rather than directing users to a destination page, which introduces a friction point because there will be user drop-offs typically in that journey, and then there may be other call to actions within that particular landing page that may distract a user. So you'll see users dropping out more than what is usual. So if you want to minimize on that, you can have the native lead gen form of Quora, where when the ad is clicked upon, it natively opens this lead gen form. There can be up to 12 different fields that can come through. And within those 12 fields, you can collect user information that the user fills in and thereby reduce friction and collect a higher quality and volume of leads at lower costs. So this is something that we've introduced about a few months back, and we are seeing a fair bit of success with this particular ad unit, again, because of the high intent nature of our audience. And now what's even better is that we've actually introduced the lead gen form into the promoted answer itself. So we've heard about the full funnel marketing approach throughout in this particular conversation. Here we have literally one particular ad solution that traverses that entire full funnel journey that we heard being talked about, right? You start with a property that inherently promotes awareness about your product or about your services, but within the answer itself is embedded a lead gen form, which then traverses from awareness to consideration to finally conversion itself, where users, after having read the answer, can tap on that learn more button that you can see on your screen. And when they tap on it, they can fill out their details so that you can collect the lead and then reach out to the user at a later stage. So to quickly summarize in terms of our products and how Quora traverses the full funnel solutions, for awareness, you can essentially use a combination of the business profile or a user profile and promote your answers to boost content distribution and engagement and your influence. To move into the consideration channel, you can use a combination of promoted answers and image text ads to first get users to be more familiar with your products and services through the answers itself, and then drive traffic to your destination pages via the image and text ads. And finally, for the conversion funnel, you can use a combination of the image text ads and the lead gen form, either via the image text ads or via promoted answers, to capture that user interest and optimize for down the funnel metrics. So with that, I will stop sharing my screen and let Harpreet lead into the targeting solutions for Quora.
Thanks, Avirup. I'll just start to share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Avirup. So guys, taking through the marketing. So, we all know what Quora can do for you. Now we will talk about how we will actually, target these audience, how we will engage the audience on Quora and eventually move them from the awareness to a conversion funnel. Now, primarily in Quora, we have 4 targeting, that is contextual, audience targeting, behavioral targeting, and broad targeting. These are the 4 primary targetings we have in Quora. Additional to this, we have layers like, we can do gender targeting, device targeting between mobile and desktop, both, or between the mobile, we also have the targeting of iOS and Android in case of app install campaigns. Then we have location targeting, that is, basically we can choose between state, cities, and pin codes. Additional to the primary targeting and these layers, we also can do exclusions of locations, keywords, questions, and audiences. I will further talk about each and every primary targeting, that is contextual, audience, behavioral, and broad in the further slides. Starting with the contextual targeting. Now, contextual targeting basically has 3 subtypes, that is topic targeting, keyword targeting, and question targeting. Now, this targeting will ensure that it targets the user basis their context and the way they are consuming the content on Quora. Now, topic targeting, as covered by Avirup, topics are basically hashtags in Quora, which is basically pages which people follow, and either they are created by the system or by the users. So for example, if you're following a certain page and we are following that particular topic, so a user consuming content of that particular topic will be shown the ad. Then we have keyword targeting, wherein keywords are picked up from the questions itself. For example, there is a question and that particular keyword is present in that question. And whenever a user searches for a particular keyword in Quora, that question will be shown that contains the keyword. It can be either in a phrase match or a broad match. And that particular user who is consuming the content of that question will be shown the ad. Similar to what we do in keyword targeting, we have question targeting. Now here, as the word suggests here, we basically target the entire question. We pick up the question that pre-exists in Quora universe. We make a set of those questions, and any user who is consuming the content of those particular question will be shown the ads. So basically, these are the 3 subtypes under the contextual targeting. Then we move on to the behavioral targeting, which is again very important when it comes to driving from awareness to consideration and eventually to conversion. Now there are 3 subtypes under behavioral targeting, that is interest targeting, keyword history targeting, question history targeting. Now behavioral targeting is nothing but targeting a user behavior, how they are interacting with the platform, what type of content they are consuming, irrespective of the topic they are following or not. A lot of things are considered here, basis their 30 days journey over the platform, what sort of questions they are reading, what sort of comments they are engaging with, if they are upvoting a particular answer, and so on. Also, whenever a user signs up on Quora, Quora will ask you certain question that what are you interested in, and based on that, that also is being considered in the algorithm, and basis that the ads are shown. Now, the first subtype under behavioral targeting is interest targeting, wherein the target users are shown the ads basis their engagement. It could be questions, it could be upvotes, etc. So, the name of interest and target can be, the name of the terms can be same, however they are tagged in different set of questions. So whenever a user into a, whenever user is in the feed, they might not be following that particular set of topic. However, with the interest targeting and the algorithm, system will automatically recognize the user behavior and show the ads which are related to the content they are consuming. Similarly, here also we have keyword history and question history. Now it is very similar to what we do in contextual targeting, but the additional layer is here we add a layer of 30 days, that is minimum of 1 day to 30 days. So in case a user has searched for a particular keyword in the last 1 day to 30 day, whatever we define, again we can do a broad match or we can do a phrase match. Basis that, the ads are shown to the user. Again, keywords are picked up from the questions, and under those questions the ads will be shown. Similarly, we have question history targeting, wherein we can pick up a set of questions from Quora, and again, if a user has searched about that question or read the content of that question from 1 day to 30 day or whatever time window we choose, they will be shown the ads. Moving on to the audience targeting we have in Quora. Now, audience targeting, there are three subtypes, that is website traffic, lookalike audience, and list match. Now, website traffic audience is basically an audience which is created basis the visitors on the platform. Now, the we can having our pixels placed, we can retarget a set of users from the website. It could be one particular web page from the entire sitemap. It could be a set of converters, or it could be any specific page that we would like to retarget the users of. Then we have lookalike audience. Now, lookalike audience, as the name suggests, the system will create an audience basis the existing audience which we already there in Quora. Now, it can be created basis the ones you've already converted. It can be created basis the ones which have already visited or interacted with your ads. Similarly, we also have list match audience, wherein we create a list of audience which is basically a list of email IDs being uploaded in the system, and the system will try to find out what are the audience out of those email IDs which exist on Quora. The list which is uploaded is completely safe and it is in an encrypted format, so there cannot be any data issues. Moving on to the four primary targeting we have, that is broad targeting. Now, as the name suggests, this will ensure that you get maximum potential impressions and you get maximum eyeballs on your ads. So let's suppose there is a campaign, it's a short burst campaign, and you would like to generate maximum traffic or awareness for your particular brand, for your offer, or let's say it could be a small event, or just a discount coupon that you would like to promote for, let's say, 24 hours, 48 hours, or it could be even more. So this will ensure that your particular ad reaches out to the maximum users. Moving on. Now, again, in order to have reach the entire funnel from awareness to conversion, so combination of broad, combination of topic and interest from contextual and behavioral targeting works the best. This will ensure you get maximum awareness for your product, service, and the brand. And eventually, once there is awareness, we can move to the second stage, that is a consideration, wherein we can take combination of topic, interest, and lookalike, and we will drive the consideration for a product and a service. And eventually we can also retarget a set of audiences via questions and topics again to drive the conversions. Then comes the bidding part. Now, there are three types of bidding which are available in Quora. That is, we can start to bid via clicks. That is, we can optimize for clicks, wherein we define the CPC to drive traffic on the website. Then we have CPM, that is cost per 1,000 impressions, wherein we can define a amount wherein traffic is, where delivery is shown as per the ad to show maximum people. Then we have optimization for conversions. Now, depending on our objective, it could be install, it could be lead, it could be purchase. We can also move from a CPC to a conversion optimization eventually, once the system, once the campaign progresses and the system learns about the campaign. So typically, these are the three bidding methods we have in Quora. Now, this is what our dashboard looks like. Now, just like any other platform, we have all sort of ad matrices which are displayed, wherein we can see what are the deliveries, when was the campaign started, what is the status, what sort of impressions, clicks, CTRs have been delivered, and eventually, we can create and track conversions as well. Also, the system also allows you to automate reports in case you would like to have frequent updates, or maybe schedule few updates as to how your campaign is performing in terms of CTR, clicks, impression, or whatever our KPIs are. Now, these are few of our mobile measuring partners, which we are, and basically marketing partners we have collaborated with. Now, most of the prominent names are definitely here, and we work with them in collaboration to ensure that there is a tracking which is in place in case there are certain needs for the advertisers. So, naming few, it's Google Tag Manager, we have Branch, we have AppsFlyer, and the list goes on. Now, these are few of the advertisers which are currently live on Quora, and they are creating success stories almost on everyday basis. So now we can see a lot of advertisers from various categories like OEM, consumer durables, consumer tech, fintech. We have BFSI, we have automobile, and OTT as well. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I will just leave the slide for about 2-3 seconds so that you can note down the email IDs. And I'll just stop to share my screen. Over to you, Bijoy. Thank you. Bijoy, you're on mute. Bijoya, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Harpreet. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we've received a few questions. I would want you to kind of respond to them. So for the first question is, which type of advertising is more effective on Quora promoted answers, text ads or image ads?
Sure. So I'll take that question, Vijaya.
Okay.
So as far as effectiveness is concerned, this is completely subjective to the objectives that a brand has, right? So for example, if the objective for a brand is to drive consideration or to drive traffic or to drive down the funnel performance, then image and text ads are slightly better suited. But if the objective of the brand is to drive awareness, then promoted answers is a better suited product.
Okay. My next question is, as a small business looking to boost my product, how do you find and choose good questions? Will Quora help out in selecting promoted answers?
Great question. So as far as selecting good questions on the platform is concerned, this is actually an organic process, and our product is engineered to be able to help you find good questions on the platform. You can simply search within the search box for relevant keywords, and you will actually get a filter which allows you to search for questions within the platform organically around those particular keywords. And yes, we can, of course, as a team, help you with also identifying good quality questions. But the other aspect about Quora is that if you can't find the right kind of question, you can simply ask your own question and then answer it yourself. So we provide that facility as well to brands as well as users.
Avirup, the next question is again for you. How can we link our promoted answers with lead generation from, if you can give us some from examples?
Sure. So where we've seen current brands utilize this, we've seen a few categories already adopting this particular feature. So education and BFSI primarily come to mind, where the kind of approach has been to start with, say, a broader topic of discussion. Like, let's say, for example, that there's a question on what are the do's and don'ts around investing in mutual funds, where a brand answers that question so that the user firstly starts considering mutual funds in a better way as far as his investment approach is concerned. And then after that consideration, a lead gen form can actually be embedded within the answer itself, so that if they are more interested in evaluating mutual funds, then they can go to that particular brand's page and effectively fill up a lead, or via that answer itself, fill up the lead via the native lead gen form and submit their information so that the brand can contact them later.
So do we also have any ad frequency control on Quora, Abru?
So there's a default frequency cap on Quora. of 2 per user per day.
Okay. So there are some questions which have come on the social media platforms. I would like to ask those as well. Harpreet, Abhiru, both of you guys can kind of respond. So how to combine organic and paid efforts on Quora?
So I'll take that as well, and then I'll leave the remaining technical questions for Harpreet. So
Yeah.
how we typically look at combining the organic approach with the paid approach is that first and foremost, you need to establish a presence on Quora, whether that be through user profiles or business profiles. Now, there is the likelihood that there are discussions happening about your brand or your business or your product already on the platform. But for you to take charge of that, you can do it either via launching a business profile or a user profile and start contributing answers to questions, even seed your own questions, get into discussions, engage with other people's answers, etc. And then from a promotional standpoint, you can select a few of these answers that you can actually promote, which essentially highlight your product and your services so that you can further consideration for them. So this is a typical way in which a combination is achieved.
Okay. Any B2B campaigns done on Quora that you could talk about?
Sure. So we've done quite a few campaigns. We can't take direct brand names at the moment, but whether it be, say, video conferencing solutions, whether it be, say, different kinds of services being offered, tools for CRM solutions, etc. There are a lot of such campaigns that are conducted on Quora. Also, because again, we have a high intent audience for every kind of category, including B2B. So what we typically do when there is a B2B specific brief is that we get back to that advertiser or agency with the kind of audience that exists in terms of topics, questions, keywords on the platform where users are coming and reading more about such solutions and services. And then we give a media strategy to that particular agency or client that focuses on being able to tap that audience for higher consideration and down the funnel performance.
Okay, another question is, want to take part in beta business profile testing. Can you elaborate on it?
Sure, Harpreet, you want to take that?
Sure, Abhiru. Yeah. So again, when you say beta business profile testing, definitely we do have an option to create a business profile and see, how it turns out. So you can post some answers from the business profile. You can also promote some answers from the business profile if it already exists on the Quora universe.
So is Quora essentially important only for the top and mid funnel levels?
So we like to believe that we contribute to every single part of the journey, like we've just elaborated in the session. So definitely top of the funnel and middle of the funnel as well. But if, say, a brand or say if an agency is looking for solutions which are largely around the bottom of the funnel, purchase, conversions, etc., because we have the ability via pixel placements, etc., to be able to track the user journey post leaving Quora as well, we're able to optimize on performance goals that a client may have.
Okay. There are two more questions I would like you to kind of answer before we kind of close it. Will a full funnel approach be useful for startups? What could be the best approach?
100%. So like Gurmeet and Harish's discussion centered or focused on, essentially, yes, startups are very, very mindful about their expenditure and they want to typically focus on the bottom of the funnel. But there is an argument to be made that startups, more than any other platform, need the top of the funnel, need to propagate awareness about their products and services more than, say, the more established brands out there. And with Quora, the aspect about awareness on Quora is that you're not just looking at a large volume of audience which is just mindlessly browsing through the platform, say looking at cat videos or looking at other things like they would do on other social platforms, but they're coming to Quora with a very specific intent. So even when you're doing awareness with a very highly targeted, high intent base, and therefore you reach only that specific audience, which is already considering a set of services, a set of products, and then you spread awareness through your answers, through your content within that specific audience, and then you push that audience down the funnel via Quora's other solutions.
One person asked, any best practices to follow on the platform? Also, they would like to understand possible reach performance through Quora. Yeah. And if you worked on any fashion, watches or musical instruments till date.
Sure. Harpreet, you want to take that in terms of just some examples of that?
You want me to repeat it?
I got the question. So, again, as we discussed, there are multiple ways we can reach out to a larger audience. So, again, with the help of topic interest and the targeting we have available in Quora, we can definitely reach out to the audience. And again, as we mentioned, all types of audiences available on Quora. So, they are basically seeking a lot of information and knowledge from the platform. So, be it the category of fashion, be it music, or any other category for that matter, there are a lot of options we can definitely use in Quora when it comes to primary targeting. So with the help of combination of to increase the awareness, again the combination of broad targeting, interest targeting and topic targeting, definitely we can reach out to the relevant audience and drive eventually consideration and conversion for the brands.
Okay, I think that brings us to the end of the session. Thank you, Aviru. Thank you, Harpreet. I think that was an interesting session. You've kind of more or less answered everybody's questions that came in and a few more that we received on other social channels as well. Before we say goodbye, my colleagues will put up a feedback form, and I would request you all who's kind of spared time to be with us to give us your feedback. Do spare time, 2 minutes, and fill up the feedback form. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.